All right, welcome to another episode of the show podcast where we interview the storytellers, the hustlers, and the outcasts of the world. Today is a really special interview because let me just give you a little backstory first. Every year, and I started this about 3 years ago, every year I make goals. I make about 3 or 4 goals. And, in the past, they've been goals such as seeing snow for the first time, going to running up the Rocky stairs, and big goals like that, or it's big to me. And this year, one of my goals was to interview possibly my greatest inspiration or my idol when it comes to the fitness industry. And that's Gunnar Peterson. So I want to welcome Gunnar Peterson to the show. Gunnar, how are we doing today, Gunnar?
We're always good. That's a choice. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And that's a big warm-up there, big lead-in. I don't know how to follow that, but let's see where we go. Let's see what we got.
Probably not big enough. Now, there's one thing that I've listened to all your interviews, and I always hear the same thing. And I'm every time I hear it, I'm like, oh man, I know what Gunnar's going to say. He's probably getting irritated at this point listening to this, but they always introduce you as celebrity trainer. And every time they say celebrity trainer, I know you always come back with, look, I'm not a celebrity trainer, blah, blah, blah. So I want you to introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit about you.
I just think it's it's the only job, it's the only business I know where they identify you by the people you work with, right? Like the people who, if a doctor, let's say a pediatrician is the pediatrician to a number of people in the same law firm. Is he a lawyer pediatrician? Like it's just a funny thing to say, but I get what it is. It's sensationalism. It gasses it up. It makes everybody think, I understand the association, right? He must be good if a celebrity is going to him because celebrities only do the best of, everything, fill in the blank. So he must be good. It's just a funny thing. I look at it like, I have a lot of people that I work with, different walks of life, including pediatricians, lawyers, don't judge me, athletes from a number of different sports, stay-at-home moms who I think are, the biggest athletes and hardest workers out there. And it's just funny you pigeonhole somebody as a celebrity trainer. I mean, you train celebrities, sure, but everybody on some level is a celebrity, right? I mean, you're a celebrity in your own house. I have people who call me from different cities. There are no celebrities here. I go, okay, I mean, there are, who's the tallest guy in town? You got a guy who's 7 feet 5 inches in your town. He's probably a celebrity. He's the known guy, right? He's celebrated for whatever it is. He owns, 5 restaurants. He's that guy. He owns the car dealerships. The lady who takes all the kids from the orphanage to her house for Christmas. She's a celebrity. She's known that way. If you train her, you're a celebrity trainer. I mean, it's a funny title, and it's a bit pigeonholing, and to me, sometimes, especially if you cross over into the strength and conditioning world, it's looked down on, and I don't think that's fair. I mean, I know the world's not fair, but I think it's a funny way to lock somebody in. He's a celebrity trainer, therefore he's not really a strength coach. But you could be both. You could be all things.
And it's kind of followed you around for years. I mean,
did I just come across as really defensive? Because I'm not. I just think it's funny when he's a celebrity trainer. I've trained people from a million walks of life. That doesn't make me that person. I try to help people do what they do in their daily life better. I try to help them reach physique goals. I try to help them reach performance goals. I try to improve my own training, my own knowledge of training for those people, for myself. There's a lot more than just training a celebrity. It seems pretty narrow.
Well, hopefully, over time, it's kind of, I'm sure every interview, they still call you that and they still introduce you as that. And I can kind of imagine you rolling your eyes back there, but,
no, it's fine. I get it. You got to put a title on it. I'm fine with it.
Now, if you have to introduce yourself, because our field evolves all the time, and now a lot of trainers are called coaches. So, how would you introduce yourself, and what do you think is the difference between a coach and a trainer?
I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point. Brett Bartholomew has a terrific book out there. I would recommend anybody in this field, actually anybody who's leading people in their field, whether it's fitness or sports, whatever. There's a book called Conscious Coaching that I would highly recommend. I've probably bought 15 copies of it and handed out to different trainers and basketball coaches and people who lead others. it just talks about getting to know the people you're working with, right? Know your audience, learn how to read a room, because the way you apply what you know, the way you communicate the message you're trying to get across, that can't be cookie cutter. You have to know. You have to say it in a way that it's going to be heard. Just because you said it doesn't mean it was heard. So, if people ask me what I do, I say I'm a trainer. I'm a strength coach. I'm a trainer. I don't know. I kind of use them interchangeably. If there's some difference, I didn't get that memo. Maybe people think coach is more for sports or sports teams, and trainer is not. In the NBA, an athletic trainer is the person who takes care of the injuries, the taping, the cut, the stitching, the cut, handling cuts, and the strength coach is the person who does the training, the strength and conditioning away from the rehab stuff, and sometimes even the rehab stuff, depending on how that's delegated. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you add athletic or you add something else onto the trainer, it sounds a lot more reputable. But I don't know. I had this weird thing where when someone calls me coach, because I'm from that time where we were called personal trainers. So when someone calls me coach, I just picture like that gym coach, with the
guy who has the polyester shorts pulled up a smidge too high and the socks pulled up a little bit higher than that.
Exactly, tucked in shirt and probably like a baseball cap or something. That's what I picture. So every time I'm like, I'm not a coach.
I don't mind. Nothing wrong with that. Those guys have their place. You look at you just be happy they're calling you, right? Whatever, coach, trainer. That's not. It's what do they say? The child makes the name doesn't make the child.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm still struggling with that, but I'm trying to bring back the name personal trainer because I've watched a few videos and I feel like for some reason the name now is kind of looked down upon, because obviously like in every field there's bad trainers, there's bad everything, and I think people are starting to shift more towards coach. So I want to bring back that personal trainer because to me I'm proud of being a trainer, so I don't know. That's just me. That's my own issues, but.
Well, my mom taught me right when I got out of college. There's honor in any job as long as you're doing it to the highest of your capability and you're working hard and you're putting in effort. Right? There's honor in a hard day's work, whatever you're doing. So you could call it whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. Call me a trainer. I think if people had to describe me, they'd probably say he's an asshole. But I don't know. I don't know if you put that before trainer if it makes it sound better or not.
Well, in this line of work, you knew you were going to be the most liked person in the world, right? So, that just comes with the territory. So,
you definitely walked that line.
Now, okay, so we know that you're not a celebrity trainer, and another thing I wanted to clear up that I think a lot of people misunderstand in interviews with you is they tell you that you trained The Rock, and you're very quick to say that I did not train The Rock, but.
Never.
He did come to your gym. So, what is the backstory with that? As far as how did that happen? Did he use your gym for a shoot? How did that go?
No. He was looking for a gym. He was in town, and I think the gym he was building wasn't quite ready. And we had a mutual friend who said you should train at Gunnar's, and they looked it over. They approved it. It had what he needed at the time, and he came through a few times and could not have been more gracious. Could not have been more giving and cool. The guy's everything you think he is, but I by no means trained him. I would never claim that, and I think we hear a lot of people claim that, and they probably shouldn't. That's a guy who does all his own work, and he exceeded all expectations, which is rare in this town.
Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people because he also has a lot of people don't know he has some Hawaii roots, and he grew up down here, and he always has that famous story where. Him and his mom, they got evicted, and, I've actually been to that apartment before, that complex. So, one thing I want to talk about that I think makes you successful that a lot of people don't talk about, they always talk about, the celebrities you train and all that, but I think your work ethic and, your personality is really underrated. Where do you think you got, obviously it's New Year's Eve and you just trained a client and now you're interviewing with me. Where did you get that work ethic from growing up?
My parents made sure that we saw the world for what it was through their eyes. We saw different places, different cultures, different socioeconomic levels from very low to very high. Number of people in 1 and 2 bedroom places, and then people in 50, 60,000 square foot mansions, packing up a station wagon, driving across the country versus people on private planes. And they sort of gave us a wide scope. And those are the material things. Obviously there are others. And then they put us in a position and said, it's what you want. The success is what you deem successful, right? If your idea of the perfect vacation is packing the family into a car and driving to the Grand Canyon, then by all means, that's a perfect vacation. Do it. If you need something higher end than that, and you're looking for, first class travel, 5-star accommodations, and that, then work hard and make sure that you're able to do that too. So you look at you kind of reverse engineer that. What do you want out of this, and then how do you get that? And the only way, as far as I've seen and experienced, there's no get rich quick. There's no fast track to success. You have to put in the hours. And I struggle with finding ways to create revenue streams outside of this that pay huge, but you can definitely make a living, and if you put in the hours, you can make a better living. So I'll put in the hours, I'll return the calls, I'll return the emails, I'll work with the extra person, I'll go in early, I'll come out late. I don't mind any of that stuff because I know end goal is create the lifestyle that I want and provide for my family and have shared experiences with friends and people I enjoy sharing those experiences with. And I don't want to think, are we able to order dessert tonight? I want everybody to have what they want when we go out. We may not go out that much, but when we go out, it's on our terms.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. There's no other way of saying that. But I think with your work ethic and everything, and I've seen your gym in multiple videos. Wouldn't you say you're a little OCD?
For sure. And people, it's funny, right? OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And I know that exists. I don't know that I have a disorder. I know that I like things to be in order. And that's in order as I see it, not as anyone else. I also don't put that on anybody else. The guy who I'm looking at his desk right now here in my office, the guy who I'm lucky enough to work with, Brad Siskin, who's, he's on Instagram. He's terrific. But Brad and I are very different in that. If you look at my desk, yes, there are piles of things. They're mostly books, a couple of piles of paper, but they're stacked and they're very, organized. Let's use air quotes, OCD or OCO. And Brad's desk literally looks like somebody just carpet bombed it. But he works really well like that. Brad sees 11, 12, 13 people a day, and he sort of nests in his chair at his desk on his few and far between off hours, and he cranks and gets the work done. I would be spending more time organizing, making sure that desk was organized as I saw it before I could start the work. So I have to keep things a certain way just so I can keep moving forward. But that only works for me. I don't put that on anybody else. You have your desk however you want it. It makes me laugh. I'm laughing while I say this, looking at his desk. So
you guys are
but I don't put it on anybody.
Odd couple of fitness, huh?
Yeah, well put. We are a little bit like the Odd Couple. It's pretty funny, and we get along famously. And he's the best dude I've ever worked with.
That's awesome. But as organized as you are, you got to have bad habits, right? Do you have bad habits? Do you have lazy days where you feel unmotivated?
No, but I have places. I'm a hoarder, so I have to have the order so the hoarded stuff doesn't look messy. But I always have a place where there's a mess. Like the trunk of my car, I just throw stuff in there. So there's everything from, I don't know if you know, and I'm saying this because I looked at it this morning. There's a thing called the WAFF, WAFF, which is an unstable training service designed by Fabrice Gauthier, the osteopath here in town, who's terrific. I have a couple of wasps thrown in there. I have a jacket. I have an old Adidas sweatshirt that, you know, if I go somewhere and one of my kids is cold or I'm cold, there's always an extra sweatshirt and a couple Gatorade towels are thrown back there. There's an XD official sandbag that I saw in there today. I'm like, why do I have a 20-pound sandbag in the trunk of my car? But it's, as I threw my gym bag in there, I just looked at, the car was perfectly clean from the outside, but the trunk was just, I mean, it looked like Brad's desk. Let's just call it what it is. So yeah, I have areas. I'm sure everybody does.
Yeah. Any lazy days where you don't feel motivated?
Yeah, but I don't really play into that, right? I have kids. I have a wife. It's a very hands-on relationship. So, and dogs, and my gym is only 2 miles from my house. So if I sleep in, which is rare, it usually comes when we come back from a road trip with the Lakers. And that's going to be an off day. I may be lazy in terms of I'm not working out, but I'll definitely get up and do something with my wife, something with one of my kids. My daughter Sloan is driving now, or learner's permit, so you know, we might put in a couple miles in the car, and you know, whatever. I'm doing something with somebody, and I enjoy all that. So it's not lazy. It's productive in a different vein.
Good way of pointing it. I want to get these geeky trainer questions out of the way, so I'm just going to kind of rapid fire you the next 3. Current favorite exercise?
Yeah, it's funny you said that. Someone said to me, you're so consistent, you always say a dumbbell twisting press or a dumbbell squat to twisting press. And I've said that for 20 years because to me it's a very effective, efficient movement. And I did it. I had that in my workout today. And I worked out with a guy who joined Brad and me for our workout. And he goes, we've never done this. And I said, yeah, we have. And he said, because I did it with one dumbbell. And I added the squat to it. So it was just funny. So yeah, that's a go-to exercise when you have to make the most of your time, right? If I can get a lower body, an upper body, a transverse plane, I'm getting some rotation in it, and I'm engaging my core in a functional pattern, right? It's the same twist that you use when you reach to grab the seatbelt. Yeah, I'll put that in anytime I can. And maybe we haven't done it in a minute, and we certainly haven't done it with one dumbbell in a minute. And I put the dumbbell in the outside hand, so I'm putting it in the hand that I'm putting it in my right hand when I'm turning left. So it's a little more challenging.
Well, I think it's a great move. I mean, thank you. I've definitely used your move in like my classes I've taught and clients I've trained. So awesome full body exercise. Favorite type of workout to do on your own? Upper lower body split, upper body, lower body cardio?
Because I don't go, so I use a lot of peripheral hard action, right? Upper body, lower body, core, lower body, upper body, core, and I sequence them pretty quickly, and I don't go super heavy on a lot of things. I mean, I try to squat heavy, I try to deadlift heavy. Other than that, I keep my reps in the 10 to 15 range. I drop down singles, doubles, triples on those bigger movements, but other than that, I keep it moving really. And I do steady state cardio beforehand. I do full body stretch, and then I do that kind of workout, and I add in a cardio interval of sorts, right? It could be a treadmill sprint, it could be jump rope, could be sled push, just things to spike the heart rate in between those more traditional resistance training movements.
Awesome. How many workouts do you think you create a week? And what is like your average time of creating a workout? Because for me, for example, I mean, there's sometimes I feel really creative and I can create a workout in like maybe under 10 minutes, and other times it takes me 20 minutes to create one. So what is your average time of creating a workout?
I don't know. I use that notes app on my phone a lot, and I put down movements, things right? It's exercise plagiarism. You're poaching. It's a business of poaching, right? So you're taking things from things you see on TV, on Instagram, another trainer, things you play with yourself. You add a piece of equipment that you found you could use a different way, and then when I prep it for the Lakers, I'll put concepts and considerations, meaning I'm thinking of this in a more of a macro way, and I want to see how it can apply, and it's definitely not going to apply to everybody, but this might be a good movement for our bigs to do. This might be good for the guards, and I try to make each one personal. Some guys need some things more than others. Some guys want some things more than others. You have to be able to strike that balance. And I sit and I write them at night, the night before. I try to put together the notes, and then I play around. Like, I will stand up while I'm writing it and do a movement. And do I feel that? Does that feel right? And then where do you put it in the sequence? That's like in the art of coaching, the parlaying off of Brett Bartholomew's concepts, because in the art of it, are you actually thinking how that's why when you have somebody who's a trainer who doesn't train, you look at it, you're like, how can you be telling me how this feels and putting that back to back? I'm not saying you have to have gone through it set rep time by yourself, but you have to know what it's going to feel like to sequence a pull up after a squat. Like, I get it. Well, it's posterior chain day, but do you know how that feels? Do you know how that's going to be taxing?
I've always told clients before, it's almost like dancing, where you'll have a dancer in a studio practicing moves and everything. And, early in my career, I would obviously, because I didn't have any clients, I would just go on the gym floor and I would try out different stuff on a stability ball, on a medicine ball. And that, I think it's that creative process. I don't know about for you, but that keeps me loving this job, because there's never a set workout or set thing. You have so much creative freedom to basically make the workout whatever you want it to, right?
You have to look at the goals, right? What's the person's goals? What are the person's strengths? What are the person's weaknesses? What are the strengths and weaknesses as they see them versus as you see them? What do they need from a performance standpoint? Is it just a physique goal, or is it they're getting ready for a competition of sorts? You have to look at, and you have to factor all that in, and you have to try and be very neutral in your assessment of that, right? You can't say, well, I don't like that they look like this, or, if that's the look they want, or I don't like that they move this way, but if their coaches are saying he's fine like that, what I really want him to work on is, X, then you have to honor that. Yeah. You can't let ego get involved. You have to be able to. You should try at least to check that. It's never about you, and you can have the best workout in the world plan, and sometimes it just doesn't land, right? They're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. It just doesn't play out that way. And other times you have one plan that you weren't 100% sure about, and it kills, and you go, God, this was exactly what this person needed today. I'm so glad that we stuck to the workout that I wrote. I write them and print them out every day. So, and I'm clear with people that it's a template, not a Bible. And as the author of that template, I reserve the right to edit at any given moment. And I'm happy to hear what they have to say about it. But as a rule, I don't let them weigh in terms of veto power, just because you hired me to do this. You want me to be the person to put this together. We don't want to do just what you want to do, and we don't want to not do what you don't want to do, because if that's the case, that's going to end us up where you already are.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell everyone a lot of times we're going on the fly, because, no workout is set in stone. Sometimes we have to adjust. If you're working out of a gym, sometimes you have to have another machine or something else to go into, because one might be taken up. That's why it kind of kills me when I see certain trainers training only one style. I can always tell, the bodybuilder will train towards bodybuilding and so forth.
Right.
But
water takes the easiest way downhill, right? We go to what we know. But that's why when you said you're out on the gym floor playing around on a stability ball or a med ball, I think you also, instead of just playing around, and I don't think you meant it that way, but you don't want people to take that the wrong way, I think you also have to invest in, follow a powerlifting protocol for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is. Follow a Olympic lifting protocol. But I flew years ago to the University of Nebraska to work with a guy on their staff and to learn more about Olympic lifting, because I just feel like I wasn't good enough at it. I wasn't capable enough, and I wanted to be able to have that in my repertoire. I just thought that was the way to do that. The guy's name was Mike Arthur. He was on Boyd Epley's staff there, and Boyd Epley founded the NSA, and I reached out to him and I said, if I come to you, can you help me work on this?
And that's what I like about you. Is you're always evolving, you're always learning, you're always reading something or watching something on Instagram. And
there's a guy here named Michael Casey. There's a guy here named Michael Casey who's a terrific coach, specializing in Olympic lifts. I mean, he does other things too, but he's great at that. That's what he does, and he works with one of the guys who I work with, PK Subban. And I've reached out to Michael. I want to come work with you. And as soon as my Lakers season is over this year, I'm going to head over there just from a time standpoint because I want to sharpen those skills.
Yeah.
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Exactly. Kind of going off of that, there's one thing that a lot of trainers will talk about. I've always thought that there's a performance aspect of what we do as far as, you're going to be with a client for an hour. I mean, you got to be a little entertaining. You got to have personality. You got to have energy. You can't just, go into the session and just count reps and whatnot. But is it true that you once took a 12-week stand-up comedy seminar?
I did.
Yeah. So
sure I did.
Tell us kind of like, what made you do that? What did you learn from that?
Well, I came out to LA. I took acting classes, commercial acting, theater acting. I did a play out here. I did a stand-up comedy class, Judy Taylor stand-up comedy class at the Improv, and you had to put an act together, and then you had to perform it. And I did it. I did it amateur night at the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard.
Really?
I think I put the amateur in amateur night. But look, you got to face your fears, and I think that kind of stuff makes me a better trainer. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I'm not saying it's not. And acting classes, right? I mean, you're working on your acting, but you're also working on your listening, because there's acting, but there's also reacting, and that's important stuff. That's part of the conversation process.
I mean, because we are kind of like trainer / bartender. I mean, we are having a conversation for a whole hour, right? So you kind of got to have stuff to talk about. You can't just be quiet or just listen, right? I mean, it's a half-half situation, right?
You should definitely be listening more than you're talking.
Yeah, that's for sure. But you got to be somewhat entertaining. So.
And what you're saying should have a purpose and a meaning, right? You're not just trying to fill dead space with your own voice. But you do, stay current. Stay away from politics. Stay away from religion. Be well versed on the issues. Be conversational on the issues, but you don't have to be heavy-handed with it. No one's coming to you for that, right? I watch Democratic news. I watch Republican news. I watch sports. I know what TV shows are out there. I know what movies are out there. I see some. I don't see that many. Again, I work a lot. I have a lot of kids, and I try to be hands-on in those relationships. But you have to be conversational, right? I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I know what it is. I understand the references. Maybe not the intricacies, but I do. I know enough, right?
Enough to hold a conversation about it if you have to.
You have to. Well, you have to also be able to listen and chime in when appropriate. Yeah.
And that's just one of the many things that I think kind of separates you from a lot of other trainers as far as, as just mentality-wise.
No, I was going to say, look, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It comes down to how well are you using your time, and are you choosing to be active in those decisions? Like, I actively switch the channel from one news to another because I don't want to be pulled down that rabbit hole. I want to go, okay, I understand how you guys see it. Let me see if I can understand this side. All right, I understand it. Wow, those seem juxtaposed. How can I, okay, and then I put my own thoughts together. But those are active choices. I don't just sit there with the thing on one channel, for 4 hours. I couldn't do that.
I've always seen a personal training session, whatever you want to call it, as an experience. You're giving them that experience. And I know you've always said, we're in the service industry, and
Yeah.
you talk about that experience. So what are some of the things that you try to do to give your clients that 4-star experience from start to finish?
Let's take it up to 5 stars if you don't mind. I think the experience for me, the experience starts with the parking. So when I got this gym, when I found this space, especially in this city, parking plays a huge part. There are places that are I just won't go to it on certain days or nights because I know I anticipate what the parking situation is going to be, and I just go, I don't want to deal with that right now. And I think that happens for a gym. I think if you go to something where you have an appointment at a certain time and you have to circle the block twice before you find a place to put your car and then run all the way in, you're more likely than not at some point in your frequenting that place to cancel or quit. And so I don't want to give you that option. So I had to find a place with parking. I think it starts there. Park it, then they walk in. Does it smell the same? Is the temperature the same? Is the music volume the same? Roughly. And you try to create something that's stable and steady in a city that's fast moving, and there's a lot of transients, right? There's a lot of changeover here, whether it's from people in power to places, right? There are a couple places that I see restaurants, and I've been out here 32 years, and I look and I go, God, that place has been 8 restaurants. That's insane to me. How does that maybe it's the same people just giving it a facelift every time, but it's a lot of change. Like, where's the Cheers? Where's the place where everybody knows your name? Where's the place where you can go in and you know what's on the menu and you know the people, a lot of jobs, not as many careers. And so I want to make this a place where they walk in, breathe easy, you know what to expect, and the only thing that's different all the time in here is the workout itself.
I mean, everyone always talks about your clients. Obviously, you're in the right zip code. I know that's what you would tell them.
I would tell them I'm in the right place.
Right? You're in the right place, and you got good parking.
You're exactly right. That you can't emphasize that enough. I know people guys who want to open a gym, they're like, Gunnar, come check out the space with me. I think I'm going to sign a lease here. And I'll drive by and I go, the parking. And they go, well, there's valet there between 4 and 7. And I go, yeah, a lot of these people don't want to have a lot of people I deal with would probably rather avoid interaction with an additional valet 4 or 5 times a week. Is there any other way you can lock in a certain amount of spaces for your people? No, I can't. I go, okay. I mean, just be aware of that. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying just be aware, think long term. I'm not trying to groom a new class of clients every 6 months. You know what I mean? I like having people. We have people who've been coming here for 20 years. I love that. I love that the place is welcoming enough. I love that they can trust the service enough that they are comfortable and confident in what they're getting enough to come back. And I try to rise to the occasion every day. We try to raise the bar here every day. We want your first day here to be not just, like the first date syndrome, right? You look your best, you behave your best. I want every time you come here for it to be that great.
Yeah. And I think a lot of trainers don't think about that experience. They want to build the gym, and rightfully so. They focus on the gym, they focus on the workout, but they forget about all the little things.
There's also a big difference between being a trainer and a gym owner. And I've said this to trainers before. If I can do it, anybody can do it, but it's 2 very different hats. You can be a terrific trainer and a horrible gym owner, and you can run a series, a number of gym franchises, but be a horrible trainer. So you have to know you're transitioning from one to the other when the time calls for you to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Service industry, customer service, all that good stuff that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yep.
We see you where you are right now, and we're going to kind of wind down a little bit. But as far as
yeah, my guy just walked in right there. I think the new year is upon us.
I guess with your success and everything, the thing that I'm very interested to always learn about people is, what is that one time in your life that, either a struggle in your life, or where you hit rock bottom, or something that you learned from? Like, we always hear about The Rock. We're just talking about him and how he looked in his wallet. He only had $7. Did you ever have a time in your life where it was a tough time, and you how you overcame that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think back on those, and I see people posting about certain injuries and certain financial dire straits they were in. Yeah, we all go through those. We had it. I've had to borrow money from friends or family. I had back surgery. All those things, you hit them, but you kind of, especially looking back. I mean, I'm older. You look back and you go, that was a moment. Okay, I'm moving on. I like that Dwayne uses that $7 moment as his. He pivots off that, and I think that's super smart, and that works for him. I don't have. Not like that. I just look at, there were some rough moments, some dark nights, but nothing crazy. As long as I keep getting up, honestly, this is crazy. As long as I keep getting up and working out, I feel like I always set the table to make things better.
Yeah, you don't seem like a guy that dwells or lives in the past too much, huh?
No, I definitely not. You got to be in the present and looking towards the future, but looking at the present.
Well, on the opposite side of that, when did you know you made it? I mean, how did it feel to make your first million? However way you wanna see that, but when did you know that you made it in the industry and you were at a point where you've never made it. You're making it. You're always making it. You never made it. I mean, you're just always making it every day. You're trying to do more. You're trying to be better, and you're pushing. I mean, look, it's New Year's Eve. I got to work at 5:15 today. I came in 30 minutes late because my first person wasn't here, and I started my day and saw a couple people, talking to you, going into my next one now, going down to the Lakers. We have practice, coming back here. I'll work till 5 and go home. It's not like that's not a sacrifice. That's a choice. Don't look at it as sacrifice. It's what you're giving up. There are a lot of people with a lot harder lives than you or I have, and you try to make the most of everyone, and just look at how good you have it. It's always someone. I read a post the other day, that job that it said something like that, it said that, and then it was in quotes, that bullshit job you have, there's somebody who would kill for that job. And I thought, yeah, that's exactly right, there is. Right? Don't whine about people who are coming to train with you, right? Be happy that they're coming to train with you. There are a lot of trainers who would love to have those people. Clients.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And someone respects your expertise and your dedication. So those are all good things to have. These are all, very good problems to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So you never really make it. You're constantly making it. That's a new quote, right?
Always. There you go. Run with it. I am running to this client right now.
All right. Last question. What are you most proud of in your career, and what do you want your legacy to be?
Striving for the balance between work and family, and I don't think I've achieved it, but I know that I'm aware of it, so I'm working at it all the time. I have great kids. I have a great marriage. Those are all things, great business, great coworkers. I'm in this womb of greatness here, and it makes me happy to be a part of it. And I try to keep raising the bar, and I'm right. I like going to work, and I like going home. I'm sad when I leave work. I'm sad when I leave home. So there's a great push-pull there that I thrive on. I love that. I'm still trying to kind of figure out how to put more hours in the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's only 24, so I don't think you can go past that. So
working on it.
What it is. But yeah, Gunnar, man, I know you're off to another session, and I just wanted to thank you for your time. And this podcast was about to end. I swear to God, before you, I contacted 2 other people, and man, I got ignored. I got the runarounds, and I had this quote.
And look at this. And look at this. I reached out to you because I remember you said this was on your to-do list for 2019. So check it off the list.
They have that quote where they say, don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed. But I can honestly say that I am not disappointed. You came through, and on New Year's Eve, and you had me going the last day. I was like, oh man, okay, I guess this is not going to happen. But you emailed me, you made the time, and I really appreciate it.
Because because I had somebody who wasn't going to train at 9 this morning, and I thought, you know what, I can knock that out. It gets something off his list. Let's get something off my list. He's a good dude. I'm going to knock that out.
So we should really thank that client then. That client is thanked for.
To remain unnamed.
There you go. But Gunnar, thank you so much. Thanks so much, and Happy New Year.
Thanks. You too very much. And, kick it off big for 2020. Thank you, sir.
All right, Gunnar. Have a good day. Thank you.